valedictorian address.
Good evening, and thank you everyone for coming. I'm Libby-Michaela, the Salutatorian, and this is Michaela Wilkin, our Valedictorian. So, the past 4 years have been a whirlwind of ups and downs, good days and bad days. But we're finally here at the celebration of the fact that we made it through each of those days, good or bad. So, I'd like to start out by saying congratulations to every one of my classmates for persevering. We made it. Now, Michaela and I would like to take a moment to reflect on years past and all the memories that have gotten us to the point we are at today. Michaela, 9th grade really was the best year of high school, don't you think? I mean, we were finally high schoolers. Yes, we were on the bottom of the totem pole, and we got last picks for electives. And it was a miracle if we made it into Mrs. Rumblatt's food and nutrition class. But we finally had big lockers to decorate to our heart's desires, and decorate we did. We moved on from modified sports to the real deal, JV sports. For me, it was soccer and softball, and there was no more 10th man position on the softball field that spring. I adjusted. But really, remember when our hardest class was algebra, and when science class consisted of dissecting fetal pigs instead of physics formulas? Thanks, Mrs. Gordon. Those were the days. We had our first semi-formal dance, and as the youngest ones there, wasn't it awesome? We weren't worried about SAT scores or college searching yet. The only thing on our minds was the wrestling mat slip and slide outside our window, the highlight of freshman year for sure. But then again, we did have to start taking regents.
Libby, clearly you inhaled too much formaldehyde from those fetal pigs. 9th grade was definitely not the best. 9th grade is practically still middle school, and nobody wants to think about middle school, ever. Now 10th grade, that was something. First of all, we were no longer freshmen, which is an achievement in and of itself. Second, we were top dog in period 5 lunch. Period 5 was the best time to have lunch. You can't argue that. That was the year we started our advanced placement classes, which meant we were one step closer to college. We were really on our way. Those were the good old days when you had to find a mirror to take a selfie, and there were only 4 versions of the iPhone. And if anybody here still needs convincing that 10th grade was a prime year, I've got 2 words for you: sophomore swag.
Cute. But sophomore swag had nothing on our junior year. Yeah, there was a lot of hype about it being the hardest year of high school. But really, was it the most fun? We had more freedom than ever, as many of us got our licenses and took to the roads. And on top of that, we were finally competing for spots in the big leagues, varsity sports. Our skills were put to the tests as games got more intense, which made winning feel that much better. Yes, we did have SATs to worry about, but college still felt like a lifetime away. And how could we forget the trip of all trips, Salem? As we saw the witch trials come to life, true memories were made, making a more lasting impact than any spray-painted t-shirt ever could. All right. But how can you compare any of that to this, senior year? The culmination of literally everything. We're on the top rung of the ladder. And besides the obvious power trip this whole year induced in each of us, we actually learned quite a bit. We had to make a lot of major decisions this year that would lay the foundation for the rest of our lives. And while we were preparing for a whole bunch of firsts, we had to deal with just as many lasts. We learned not to take anything for granted. Our last volleyball tournament, our last high school sports seasons, our last days together as a class. But because we knew that this was our last year together, we knew not to waste a minute of it. From prom to senior trip, we've never had a year so full of memorable moments. And now we're here at graduation. We're not those silly little 9th graders anymore, thank God. We're finally getting out of here, and
actually ready for whatever the real world is about to throw at us.
All right, so they were all pretty great. And really, each of these memories has built us into the students, friends, and people that we are today. No matter what you remember from the past 4 years, remember this. You are who you are today because of everything that you've been through up to this point. But you are ever changing. Just because you're voted most likely to be late to graduation doesn't mean you will be. You have to be. And I wasn't. Take all of these memories and run with them, anywhere you want to go. But when you finally made your dreams come true, remember where you started, right here in good old Duanesburg. Kurt Vonnegut once said, "True terror is to wake up one morning and discover that your high school class is running the country." But I think he's wrong. We're a grade of creative minds, incredible athletes, and powerful leaders. I know that we will change the world, but it will be for the better.
Well, at least we can agree on that. All of our years at Duanesburg certainly changed us for the better. Now, just a few days ago, I sat in a room with the entire elementary school during their end-of-year assembly, and that's when everything really hit me. All of these kids were at the beginning of their years at school, and we're ending ours. We were those kids not that long ago. Not that long ago, we were sitting on that hard floor in the cafeteria and singing along with Mrs. Doherty, or watching the 5th grade play, or more likely, getting shushed by our teachers because we weren't paying attention. Not that long ago, we were more excited about finding out who next year's teacher was going to be than the actual summer. Not that long ago, we were confused kindergartners trying to understand difficult concepts like sitting still and the alphabet. 13 years sounds like a long time. It sounds like a really, really long time. But 13 years is only a tiny fraction of our lives. Never again will we change as much in 13 years as we did during our years here at Duanesburg. Now, I'd like to thank our families and our friends. I'd like to thank every teacher we've ever had, from elementary school to senior year. I'd like to thank all of you because you've helped build a fantastic senior class. And, of course, I'd like to thank you, class of 2014. It doesn't matter if you've been here since kindergarten or if you moved here just this year. We're one of the most tightly knit classes I've ever seen. We have to move on now, but always you will have the glorious memories of Duanesburg High. Duanesburg forever. Bon voyage.
Bon voyage.
Libby and I would like to invite our class advisors, Mrs. Springer and Mrs. Hopkins, to the stage, please. Now, I don't know who spread the rumor to us last year that senior year was going to be the easiest year, because they were definitely lying to us. This year was not easy at all. And we could not have made it through this year without these two. Now, we can't thank you enough for your guidance and support. Your hard work is appreciated, even if we don't always show it, and we probably don't always show it, so I apologize for that. So, on behalf of the class of 2014, thank you. Thank you both.
Thank you, Libby and Michaela. Now I'd like to invite you to enjoy the select choir's performance of